Space, and as always, I got to refresh because it's not working. 2 seconds, folks. 2 seconds. How's it look? How's it look? It looks good. We're in business. Good morning. Today's episode, along with all episodes, is sponsored by Change Angel, non-custodial swap exchange for social good. Stop depositing on exchanges. If you're not using a non-custodial exchange and not using DeFi, what are you even doing in the crypto space nowadays? Who's in the stream? We got Mustafa's in the house, and a bunch of other people I'm sure are going to join. I'm a couple minutes early. It's 11:27 a.m. on a Thursday, December 10th. Almost the middle of December. Got a whole lot to think about, a whole lot to talk about at the end of the year. And crazy times. Crazy times. This is the time of the year when everything's supposed to be happy, happy, joy, joy. And I think that that is the case for many people, but it's also not the case for many people. And that's quite unfortunate. So I think we're part of the fortunate folks on this call that we have a bit of a luxury that we have our savings and we're able to invest in the crypto space. And the vast majority of people, as I talk about quite often, do not. They know nothing other than dollars. They work for dollars. In fact, they borrow dollars, payday lending, and all that craziness. And this time of the year, you know it's probably going to get popular. Anyway, it's too much doom and gloom. RR's in the house. Always a pleasure. Let's pop it over to the main screen and see what's going on. Nothing special on Twitter that I could talk about from like a commentary standpoint, other than Irish Girl Crypto helped push us over the threshold of 1,000 YouTube subscribers. So in the coming days, we'll probably get the super chat and an enhanced experience for everyone that views the stream, which is nice. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. It's exciting for me and everyone. Gives everyone a better experience. I look forward to that. There's hundreds. I've had more subscribers from one post of, like a mega social media, someone with like 50,000 Twitter subscribers. I've had more YouTube subscribers from one post than I had in a half a year. The reason really is called network effect, ladies and gentlemen. Network effect, and that's the effect that Bitcoin has. Followers breed followers. Price action, bullish price action breeds bullish price action. Um, and that's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is the first. It is entrenched in even, and as I've said this so many times, just because it's not the best technology has nothing to do with the fact that it will not be disrupted. It's because of network effect. It is an entrenched component of really what's emerging to be future financial infrastructure. It's pretty obvious at this point. Woo! Rick's in the house. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Hey, Charlie. Jump on, Charlie. Bring your questions, everybody. Hit me. Let's figure out what's going on at the end of the year 2020, the worst financial and social and everyone locked up in this miserable year and what biological? Where's biological year since God knows when? So bring your questions and let's figure out how to at least make the best decisions possible at the end of this crazy year. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. Let's start off with that. We are completely on trend, in my opinion. Now, folks see depreciation, where the asset has gone from over 19,000 and change down to 18,000. In fact, we dipped down towards 17,624. But as you can see, that depreciation is perfectly within a trend formation. This is either a symmetric triangle, depending on how you look at it, or an ascending triangle, which looks good as well, obviously with aberrations. Um, these orange lines go back years. They go back to 2017. So they're quite meaningful. I've talked about where they come from. These two orange lines I draw them very thick because I like buffer. But notice where they are. This is the top of the weekly, December 2017. And this is the week of the 11th, and this is the week of the 18th. So those are what these two orange lines are over here. Zoom out, sorry. That's these two top orange lines. So these are very historic trend lines. So, whether you look at this as an ascending triangle or symmetric triangle, I think this is just bullish. It is bullish until it is bearish. So unless we see a breakthrough support and then a support flipped resistance, price action something like this, breakthrough support, you come up and then you come back down, and that's as bearish as it gets. But we clearly don't have that, at least on the mid time frame, mid time ranges. But if you go to the 4 hour, it looks fine, well within this trend formation. In fact, not only is it within trend formation, let's get rid of this little squiggle. Not only is it within trend formation, it also bounced off the 200 EMA in the 4 hour. Can this go bye-bye or what? There we go. So this bullish confluence, to say the least, it's not really that it bounced off of it, but at least it's in the vicinity. So if it did fall through support, trend support, there is the 200 EMA slightly to the downside, which will provide additional support, potentially chalking up a break of trend support to a temporary aberration with the 200 EMA pushing it back into the trend formation. At least that's the way I interpret this. I interpret this as just bullish. And as I said, bullish until it's bearish. And sure as hell, this is 2020, ladies and gentlemen. We need a bullish end of the year, if I do say so myself. I'm just saying. Captain Weber's in the house. We get the super chat. I just need to apply. So right now the account's going through review. And YouTube, Captain YouTube, runs the show. I'm going with snooze unless a stimulus happens. Yeah, you know, our hopium would like to say that no matter what happens, Bitcoin wins because everything else is miserable, sad, deprecated, antiquated. All those words that we have said over the year about the legacy financial system. Um, and that just makes me want to say that Bitcoin deserves to win because everything else is so bad and pathetic. It really is. And what's even worse, what's so pathetic about the legacy financial system is not just how deprecated it is, it's just how many people look at it like it's good, like it's the holy grail. You can imagine the bankers, the people on Wall Street, they're like, oh, look at the stocks and look at the charts, and their business revolves around the legacy financial system. I just find that it's so pathetic because as an engineer, I like new, I like advanced, I like iterating, I like moving forward, I like progressing, I like evolving. But the legacy financial system is like using some ancient old garbage. It's like evolve already. It's just so pathetic when you see um, the status quo hold on to the past so irrationally. It's like, yeah, I know your lives are dependent on investments in the stock market, but grow up and figure out how to structure things differently and move on and realize how dangerous and really bad, unfortunately, the traditional system is. It's just broken, and there's not many good things to say about it, in my opinion. Now maybe it's because I've been burned a couple times with a couple bankruptcies and stocks that they were really not meant to go bankrupt, but they went bankrupt because of private investment. Really, behind the scenes, I'm sure private investment pushed them to go bankrupt to shake out the retail investors to get them out of the picture. Get those stupid $10,000 investors out of the picture so we could come in with $1 billion and make $1 billion. So that's legacy financials. It's cutthroat. It's not. It's not. I don't know. Yeah, yet we talk about rug pulls in the crypto space, so that's kind of cutthroat. So there's cutthroat everywhere. But you would think that we'll evolve into a system that has more honor, has more, goodwill, good intentions. I would hope so. Charlie's in the house. Always a pleasure. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas, everybody. It's coming soon. Rick's in the house. Love your CRV play, but you also sold your uni. Yeah, but uni doesn't produce any yieldy. No yieldy for uni. What was the reasoning behind the sale versus the accumulation of Curve? Curve produces yieldy. So check this out. So the other day, yesterday, we got our first admin fee. So I had like $2,200 that I got from the admin allocation, the admin fee distribution, which just started. So every week I'm going to get three pool claims, but I also have here an ape tax, which is another hundred and change bucks. So that's nice. And I what I do is I go over to Zappify and I zap my three pool over to the compound pool because I like the compound pool better because it doesn't have exposure to tether. So I have but I have a couple $100 here from the ape tax claim. So that's producing yield, and that's what I want, guys. That's what I want. I want my assets to not just appreciate, which they will, because they're in assets that are going to produce asymmetric returns. I want my assets to produce yield, so my assets work for me instead of me working for me, because I don't want me working for me. There's something wrong with that. I want my assets to work for me. There's something right with that. Barry's in the house. Always a pleasure. Captain Weber, Insanity. Worst travel year. Yeah, I feel for you. I can imagine. I know my own complexities. I was literally just talking with my wife before the stream about our own complexities, and I try to always put into perspective everyone else's complexities. And I know it's rough. What we need, everyone needs someone like me to yell at the old financial system how fucked up it is. It's broken. It's not your fault. It's fault. The system breeds capitalism is cutthroat and dry. It's cold. It's capitalism doesn't give you a blanket if you're cold. That's not capitalism. And the mess up thing is that's socialism. And you all know how that word turns out in this country right now. Nobody likes socialism. That's a naughty word. Socialism, Social Security, socialism, Medicare, socialism, Medicaid, socialism. These are dirty words, boys and girls. It's dirty. Thank you, Charlie. Hit that like button, everybody. Yes. Yeah, the Airbnb shares with the double on the IPO. That was crazy, Captain Weber. Woo. I don't know. I don't know about that gambling. I don't know about that gambling. Mustafa says, want to know about XSN and Connext. Uh, Whatever it is, I don't know, but stake that baby. Woo! I mean, listen. What's beautiful about StakeNet and certain types of assets, especially like the legacy old school ones, is you just need a critical quantity, and you place a bet, and that is a gamble. So I tell everyone, legacy financials are gambling. Meanwhile, we're gambling in the crypto space a bit. But there's something that just feels right about gambling on these types of assets versus gambling on Airbnb going doubling on their IPO. It's just no, that's wrong. But StakeNet going 10x because their volume increases and it's a decentralized exchange and it's really providing some meaningful functionality and technology to the space. There's something honorable about that. So I hope that happens. StakeNet's been doing this for a long time. They have serious technology that they've built. Whether it's reached critical mass and the asset is appreciating substantially or not, it's irrelevant. What they've produced is historic. There's no one else that produced the technology that they produce. And I say that from every asset's perspective. There's no one else that built what BlockNet produced. There's no one else that has built what Syscoin has made. No one else that did the protocol modifications that DigiByte did. No one else. Only DigiByte. No one else that built. So each of these assets are special. They have properties. And they have meaning. That's my point. There's much effort. So when you're talking about a company, what is it like? Business and documents and they were lucky enough to get the funding, and it's a little different with these projects. There's something that has a certain amount of, there's like a sense of honor that comes with having created some of these projects. They're honorable because a lot of them there was no funding. These are built by dedicated people putting in due diligence and effort. So there is something honorable about the crypto space as compared to Airbnb doing a 2x on IPO. Ah! Stops in the house, always a pleasure. Yeah, Sven's comments on Airbnb. I like Sven too. I like it. Sven's a good guy. Idle Finance, good deal. No doubt Yearn's going to get down with Idle. I know, Dave. Yeah, thank you, RR, in the super chat. I look forward to that as well. It's sooner than later. I was clicking a bunch of buttons yesterday and this morning to get everything upgraded. Davor says, "Yo, know any TA on Ren and Band?" Yeah, not Band. So here's the deal with the way I think. I don't really look at Band, but I have Band. I have position in Band, and delegate. So delegate, and you're going to get your inflationary returns on Band. So I got Ren up here. Ren's been getting hit hard. It broke long term. I mean, really long term support. So we're talking support that went back to well, pretty much here, June of this year, and then August, and then we had a couple of hits over here later in the year, but it broke the support line, so that's bearish, very bearish, very, very, very bearish. Right now it's in a falling wedge, which is a bullish trend formation. It's pinching. So as this price action pinches, the tendency of this trend formation is a bullish break to the upside. So all things considered, this is very consistent with a fake out breakout pattern, which we've seen a lot. So, but this is a very large trend formation, so we could easily see a breakout that rips us right through also the resistance of the previous symmetrical triangle formation. But it's speculative. Break falling wedges don't break down often because then it's a bit of an exponential breakdown and it's a very aggressive breakdown. And it's just I don't see why Ren would break down that much unless there's like a systemic instability in the crypto space. It's just such a profound asset from a fundamental perspective that you would think about it as bullish. Um, we'll see. We'll see. I myself have my positions. I have no interest in buying nor selling. I am fixed. I have dark nodes. That's it. Won't touch. Won't sell, won't buy. I love Ren. um, that's the deal. No yield, no hold. Otherwise, it's a speculation. Got it. That's right, Rick. Listen, every asset. Let me look at the portfolio. I have only one asset. Well, even Keeper Dow, keep Rook. So obviously the emissions end in February, but even this asset, I provide liquidity, is producing yield denominated in Rook. So I've gotten 1.2 Rook as a yield from providing this half a Bitcoin in liquidity. So, I mean, this produces yield, but I do have a Rook position that I purchased at 70 something dollars, but because I am expecting asymmetric returns at some point, or at least speculating that there will be. But every other asset, Aave, I have in the security module, Band is inflationary yield, Synthetics is inflationary yield, Loopring with their L2 AMM, Bancor is producing yield. Uh, Curve is probably the most interesting and one of the biggest yields. The carry trade, guys. Whew, Curve. Ethereum produces yield vis-a-vis. I have it in Celsius and ran the dark nodes, and Bitcoin produces yield, ladies and gentlemen. Look, Bitcoin is producing Rook yield for me here. I'm producing yield here. Bitcoin is producing yield because I have it in MakerDAO for a leverage position that I have in Curve, which is producing 25% yield. So Bitcoin, I'm earning 25%. Woo! Talk about yield, baby. And the only other asset, there's only one asset I have that doesn't produce yield, and that's Digibyte. So, but bear in mind, Digibyte has just been added to the multi-chain for RenVM, which means we should be able to mint RenDGB at some point as the bridge is updated and hopefully as it is accepted as collateral for debt positions. Then you can leverage, and then you should be able to eventually produce yield and access the equity in even Digibyte. So right now, Digibyte is the only thing that I have that doesn't produce yield. just remind everyone it's a relatively small position. It is about 1% of my portfolio. Love my Digibyte, but I understand that is a highly speculative asset. That's just the bottom line. Speculative, don't gamble, minimize your gambling. If you're gambling, 1%. Take your 1%. But that's complicated, and I know, guys, I know not everyone's working with the portfolio size that I have, and it is harder to go from $1,000 to $100,000 than it is to go from $100,000 to $1,000,000. So I can appreciate it if folks tell me they're taking more risk than I would. I'm in a position to take less risk than other folks may have to. So I can't argue with that. In fact, when I had a smaller portfolio, I could probably say that I was taking much more risk than I am now. It's a true statement. Yeah. Yeah, Daver. Thank you. These are called monologues. These are my monologues. This is my therapy session for the day. So thank you, everyone, for listening to me. Appreciate it. Angelo's in the house. Always a pleasure. Stop lagging in the stream because I was late, but it's all good. I'd like you like my perspective on Ethereum. Ethereum is cash. So I told my wife the other day that here's my petty cash account. So I got 1.9 Ethereum sitting around in this particular account that I use for petty cash. $1,000, it's nothing to sneeze at. But look, I need it to claim my tax, move around liquidity, and then do various Ethereum-based transactions. And that's not cheap. It's $20 to do this, $30 to do that. So I need $1,000 just sitting around as petty spending cash. That's really what it is. And Ethereum, in 2 or 3 years' time, Ethereum could, Raul said it himself as well, could outperform Bitcoin. Ethereum is going to be proof of stake, and if they have a burn component where transaction fees destroy Ethereum, it's quite possible that Ethereum could become a deflationary asset. I mean, even Bitcoin, so I know folks call it it's not inflationary, but I don't agree. I know that there's a fixed supply, but I argue that the emissions is a decaying inflationary pattern. Every time there's a halving, the emissions reduce. So right now it's inflating. As of today, there's more than there was yesterday because of the mining emissions. And clearly there's a max supply. That doesn't mean it's deflationary. It just seems obvious to me. It's a decaying inflationary asset. The inflation decreases every halving to the point where there's barely any inflation, and to the point where there's an actual no more inflation in like 100 years. So I'm just saying, boys and girls, that's just the way I see things. Do you have thoughts on how do you how does wife kids have the kid? Oh, I think I don't know what uh, you're talking about, like uh, 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 inheritance. Um, yeah, I got a big problem with that in my family because obviously I do all this DeFi stuff and they're highly technical positions. And no, I don't have the best answers to that. All I know is I think that'd be a great product for the DeFi space, an exit all button. And Zapper has done a great aggregation of places that people place money. So I think that's not a bad thing to ping something like Zapperfy. Um, Exit all, like an emergency red button at the bottom. Exit everything, sell everything, exit all pools, and liquidate everything using Uniswap or 1inch and transfer it all to like Ethereum. And then you can take your Ethereum, go over to Gemini and liquidate and exit crypto. So that is not a bad idea for one of these platforms. Now, that's a new concept. Clearly, DeFi is new. Clearly, smart contracts interacting in a cascading effect is relatively new. It's really only this year that we've seen these DeFi Legos start to mature and materialize. So that'd be really cool, like an exit all emergency button at the bottom, and it would liquidate everything for Ethereum, and then you could transfer to Gemini, as I said. So that I have given thought. And that's how you would manage it. But right now, there is no automated process like that. So this gets complicated, man. I don't even tell my wife, yeah, unstake. If you want $2,000, unstake your Aave from the Aave security module, and in 10 days, you'll have access to $2,000 denominated in Aave, which you could then go to one inch exchange to sell for Ethereum, which you could then transfer to Gemini and then sell for dollars and then extract to a bank account that you could use on a credit card. So the cooldown period is 10 days. So I don't know. It's a very complicated topic around here. Uh, Mustafa says the XSN team told that top five exchanges is near. Yeah, so I know they're integrating with exchanges as liquidity sources. Their DEX is big deal. Blocknet's a big deal. These boys can literally. There's almost 100% guarantee that in the coming years, one of the old school assets is going to swing around and launch like a rocket ship. And just like Dash was $1,000 an asset, it's faded to nothing. So there's assets that are going to go to the moon, there's assets going to go to zero, and there's assets that are going to be in between. And, I have my StakeNet masternode and BlockNet service node, and I've had them for years. And there's bottom line, speculative play, I think it's a big deal. Well, about 1% of the portfolio, give or take, give or take. Just saying, just saying. Good dip to buy, Charlie G says. Let's take a peek. I would say yes. Yeah. I bought up here. I bought it like 19,200 less. I bought around here, give or take. So yeah, this is a good dip to buy. It was Jason Williams, Pomp's friend, partner. Just buy. Listen, you got cash in the bank. What the fuck? What the fuck is the cash doing? Clearly, if you have bills to pay, you keep cash in the bank to pay your bills. But if you like have a checking account and a savings account, and you're used to moving $250 a week into the savings account, fuck that. There's your buy. You're done with the savings account. Savings account's done. You accumulate cash in a checking account that you need to cover your bills in case there's an interruption in work. You have some extra cash, cover a month or two so you can get back on your feet. But anything that you used to do for long-term savings, like IRA, moving money the first thing I've done since I've gotten jobs over the last couple of years is I cancel the IRAs. I'm like, and the 401ks. No 401ks. I don't want anything taken out of my paycheck. I will handle my own finances. And these companies are like, huh? And then I'm like, I don't even need to explain myself to them. I want no 401k. Stupid. 401k. 401 my yes. Daver says, love Rem, baby. Yes. H says, Bancor. Let's take a look at Bancor. Bancor's a good deal. To BTC. So I love Bancor. They've been beaten up heavy. Yeah, this doesn't look good. So I have a position in Bancor, small, 1,000 BNT. It's moved up a little bit. It's worth a little bit more, but it's trivial. Unless this goes 100x, it's not catching my eye. That's what we all want, right? $1,000 to $100,000. So, it's staking. I got it staking. I'm getting a fair amount of yield. How much yield? 327% a year. Bam! Now we're talking. It's a good deal. So from a chart perspective, it looks horrible. So this is my rationale. From a chart perspective, this is a no touch zone. This is a no touchy zone. You no touchy this. But from a Bancor perspective and what they're doing with their DAO and what they're doing with their governance and what they're doing with the impermanent loss and the insurance protocol, and you got a position. So I think a lot about Kyber and Bancor. And Kyber, you guys know what I think. Kyber has the best tokenomics in the entire crypto space. It's deflationary and it has incentivized supply disruption. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's better than synthetics. And synthetics is fire. Synthetics is inflationary, but it's net deflationary because of the incentivized supply disruption. But Kyber is actually deflationary with the incentivized supply disruption. Kyber's on a whole nother level. The problem is the chart is horrible. It's uninvestable. Um, but Bancor, their tokenomics and what they came up with this summer and released, I grabbed the position. But I can't say the same about Kyber, unfortunately. KNC, BTC. So Kyber, I made a huge amount of money this year in Kyber, but unfortunately, from the chart perspective, this is in the no touchy zone also. Ain't no touchy this. Um, how does Julian? Hey, no, don't forget about the Bancor years. Bancor years are crazy. They're crazy. Now, if you're talking about Bancor the asset or just participating in the LP pools, being an LP, good deal. Good deal. Charlie G. Savage, yes, I try. I try. I've done okay. We all wish we always did better, and we feel for difficulties that folks are experiencing this year. It's been a very conflicting year. Very, very conflicting year. Emotionally conflicting. I don't like it one bit. This year's got to go bye-bye. And these people in politics got to wake up and get their head out of their ass. Bunch of sick people in politics. These politicians, they're crazy. Um, I have no idea, Bakir, whether I can stake that will hit a buck. No idea whatsoever. My rationale is anything other than Bitcoin, I expect to go to zero and be worthless. Bitcoin is risk off. If you want to take no risk, ladies and gentlemen, minimize risk, you go for Bitcoin. But otherwise, if you don't take any risk, you're not going to get anything. So you have to take risk. So I think just Bitcoin is probably the best damn investment. And that's the sentiment that the big boys agree with at this point. And that's what's so meaningful. So what Raul will say is he's uncomfortably, or whatever he says, is how long, that's his long position. It's going to outperform the world. Just saying, just saying. Charlie loves the stream. I try. I'm just honest, guys. I'm honest. This chart right here is definitely the no touchy zone. Just honest. What else? Do I have anything? Let's check this out. Let's check this tab out. I got some tabs that you guys might like. This is what Keeper Dow has made. Some nice money. I always like to refresh this bad boy. Look at that. This their algorithms, their keeper algorithms, and keepers have produced $3.2 million. Is that a month? That's about a month. Can you imagine? $3.2 million. So this is why I have my eye on Keeper. Keeper's crazy. It's barely out of its infancy. Rook was released this month. It's produced $3 million this month, and the governance isn't even in place yet. It's such a baby asset. This thing can outperform immensely. Just this is risk on. This isn't Bitcoin. This is risk on. Tiny percent of portfolio. Bancor is deflationary as well. Not currently. They will have a burn mechanism as per the current governance that they're talking about, Julian. You're right. But that is currently in discussion in governance. So it's not currently the case. I look forward to the liquidity mining rewards. So bear in mind that's inflationary, as well as the impermanence loss protection. That is inflationary. So they want to introduce the burn component, which is deflationary, to compensate for the inflationary component. So this is exactly why I took the position in Bancor, considering the chart, BNT BTC, the chart, which is clearly in the no touchy zone. There ain't nothing good about this chart other than it's up huge for the year. I'll give them that. Give them that. I mean, look at this. If you bought it, it's up 182% if you bought it in May. Come on. So, some things to consider. You put $1 million in May and you got 2.8. So 1.8. That's a good deal. 2.8. Point being, you're up a lot. So, yeah, Bancor. All right. Charlie, thank you. I appreciate it again. I tried my best. I really look forward to the super chat, and I hope everyone has a better experience. And I love this stream so much because folks bring their questions, and we have just a back and forth. And it's just by you guys asking questions, it helps me better understand the things that I'm interested in, and because I'm getting your perspective and what you're interested in, and that's what's so enjoyable about the stream. Um, Otherwise, I think that wraps us up for today. Let's look at synthetics for a second. See how because they're going to have L2 support at some point, probably next year, and I really look forward to that. Um, yeah, this is really cool. The synthetics L2 testnet. I love that. I love what these guys are doing. And Loop Ring with their L2 AMM, which I provided a little bit of liquidity on. That's really cool. Anyway, that's all. Last minute thoughts, 12:02 p.m. on a Thursday, December 10th. Always a pleasure. Best time of my day. Smack those thumbs up buttons. Tell everyone to subscribe. Tomorrow's another day. We got another hot episode. So bring your questions. Let's have a good old time. And I wish you all a wonderful day today. See you tomorrow. Peace.